everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Imaginary Boys. I am one of the two hosts, Mr. Habanero, and I have my secondary host, Mr. Lettuce. How are you doing, Mr. Lettuce? How's your day? How you doing?
Oh no, I'm having some fun.
Are you actually having fun?
I am. This is one of those times where being a well-renowned internet troll is.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I saw you on Twitter today, Mr. Naughty Boy.
How am I? I am not naughty. I hadn't posted a single testicle pic.
I saw you calling out somebody with some receipts on Twitter today. I did notice that.
Oh, that one. Oh
yeah.
That's funny.
And I was I literally saw that in my feed, and I was like, "Oh, Lettuce is getting spicy over here." Okay,
I'm not the one getting spicy. Hoes be mad.
I mean, reasonably so. Reasonably so.
I don't know if that falls into reasonably.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of weird, sketchy shit going on Twitter today. So, like, literally, I kind of like hopped onto Twitter and I was like, "Hey, Twitter, what are you up to?" And then my feed just like blows in like it's a fresh wind straight out of hell, and I'm just like, "Oh, that's what's going on today." All right, time to turn Twitter off.
Yeah, we're not going to go in. I don't plan on going.
No, I don't want to talk about it at all.
No. But if you are a normie. Mm-hmm. Stay off Twitter for the next few days. It's going to be rough. Count Dankula is worth a follow though. He's I
know who he is.
Yeah, I don't know how people don't realize he's just the world's biggest troll. Like legit, like he changed his profile picture and his name, and people think he's a legitimate Supreme Court justice now.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah,
good job, man. You did it.
Yeah, got there. I was like, and the thing is, he's like, he does this a lot, and then he breaks character. And I'm like, dude, why are you breaking character so quickly? We can farm this for about a week. Just shh, bitch. Just let down. Just lay low.
Yeah. I mean, luckily my feed on Twitter isn't too bad. Like, there were still some fun posts. And I got like followed by like a pretty large Twitter account, which was kind of neat and out of nowhere. I was really surprised by it. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that anything I say has any relevance whatsoever. Thank you for the follow, large Twitter account.
I got Desolator to tell me he loves me.
Oh, dude, Desolator's so awesome. I was saying awesome stuff about him recently.
Yeah, no, I love Desolator, and he was like, dude, we should do a podcast, and I'm like, eh.
He did. What did you ask him to come on our podcast?
He was in the middle of playing Arena. I told him, I said, like, dude, you and Cinder have an open invite. Like,
yeah, I would love for Desolator to come on our podcast.
I said, just talk to Habs or me. And if you want to do it, if you want to drop some wax,
yeah.
You know, talk to me and Habs, like, and you'll get a thumbs up from both of us.
Dude, I love talking shit with Desolator. He's like one of my. I always remember like one time we were playing me and the Minecraft boys and girls. We were all on Minecraft, and I was streaming it, so I think it's still on my channel or something. And it was just like a big group of us, like 4 or 5 of us all just hanging out. And Desolator was like, he was in the middle of doing his taxes. And he was like, yo guys, like, can I get on the call with you guys while you're streaming? And we're just like, hell yeah, Desolator, come on in on the call. And so he's like, literally like, we're all playing Minecraft and just shooting the shit. And Desolator's over here doing his goddamn taxes. And he's just like free balling it, like just like talking about whatever kind of random shit he feels like. It was so funny. And it was just a good time. It was just a good time hanging out. Like, I love like just shooting shit with like Desolator. Like, it's really nice, like when you can like talk with him about stuff that's not specifically magic related. It is super fun just hanging out and chatting with him. Legit. Like, I love that dude.
No,
So
yeah, no,
yeah,
he seems like he'd be like awesome to talk about if we can avoid magic,
yeah,
or talk
definitely.
to if we can avoid magic. If he avoids magic, I just think he gets a little weird.
You mean when he
Like
talks
Prepper,
about magic, he gets weird, is what you're
yeah,
saying?
he gets weird about it.
Yeah.
Like magic, he gets kind of weird about it. Like he gets kind of defensive and like hyper opinionated,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, it's not the vibe I'd be going for. Like I would love to talk prepper shit with him.
That would be pretty good. He's really into that. I've definitely chatted with him about that kind of stuff. Like one time he was like, "Yo, bro, like you and me, we're gonna meet up one day and we're gonna like go out into the woods and just like like free ball it, like just
Oh, that's
like
hot.
yeah, hell yeah. Me and Desolator are gonna free ball it all day. Uh,
Me and Desolator rocking out with our cocks out.
hell yeah, man.
No homo.
No, never, never. But yeah, just like
Why
go.
not?
He was
Why
just
not
like,
homo?
add in the spanking sound effect. Okay,
Yeah.
homo.
Yes, all of the homo.
Yeah, all the homo. But yeah, he was just like, yeah, we'll just go out in the forest and we'll just because I've told him that I have like I graduated like Boy Scouts and had a chance to go into Eagle Scouts and didn't, but I have like all the stuff that's about like surviving out in the wild and stuff like that. So he's just like, okay. But yeah, if he wanted to like come and join us on the podcast, I'd be super down for that. That'd be really fun. And I mean, I honestly don't mind like chatting magic with him every once in a while. Like, but the thing is that like he knows that like I just like talking shit about magic. So like usually when I start talking shit about magic, he'll just start talking shit about magic too, because
Bruh.
that game.
Yep. Bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. So Desolator, if you happen to be listening to this, I don't actually even know if he's a listener.
I'd wager he doesn't.
Oh, well, if you're listening to this, join us over here, buddy. We'd have a great time having you as a guest.
He thought you were getting ready to Phasmo with me.
Who? Desolator?
Desolator thought this was like you were like I had brought up like you and me recording.
Yeah.
And he thought it was like it was like a Phasmo stream.
Nah.
I was like, no. I was like, I think Cinder's at work.
I also remember one time playing with Desolator. We played I played with a whole bunch of people, and Desolator was in there. What was it? It was Among Us. We all played Among Us in a huge game. And Desolator
I never got to play Among Us with you guys. Cinder's
like,
you should totally. Yeah. Like the second I bought it, Cinder stopped playing it.
Yeah, it's like it's a rough game. Like it's a rough game.
He's like, Lattice, you should really get in on this Among Us with this group. I'm like, okay, it looks like fun. I'll give it a try. And then it's crickets.
Yeah. I mean, like, the thing is that's really weird about that game is that I don't necessarily always like the mentality that, like, the game builds. But if you're playing with, like, a bunch of people and you can just dick around, like, when you're playing with a bunch of people that are fun.
That's not a game you play. That's not a game you play with randos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because, like, one of the things I hate about Among Us is people will just yell at each other. Like, that's what I really genuinely hated about that game is just people yelling at each other nonstop. And then, like, the whole thing that, like, is people are, like, yelling at each other nonstop and, like, accusing each other because that's literally the whole point of the game is accusing each other. And then, like, for me, for example, like, I'll just be quiet because it's like, I don't want to yell at you assholes. Like, you guys figure your shit out. I'll just kind of stand over here. And they'll just all scream at each other. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, Hobbs hasn't talked in a while or said anything. And I'm like, yeah, because you assholes are all screaming at each other. Of course I haven't said anything. I don't want to be in on this. Like, and then they all start screaming and yelling at me, and then I'll have to like, divert attention somewhere else, whether I'm the bad guy or the good guy. And then like, they'll just automatically think it's me because it's like, I don't want to talk to you assholes. So it just like, it's very difficult to play that game with people who take it really seriously. Like it's more fun. Huh?
Right. That's why I say you can't play it with randos.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to gauge people when they start yelling and you don't know them.
Yeah. It was really fun playing it with Cinder Shadow and the group of people that he had, because like when like they were trying to like play it and all that, but they weren't like trying to like constantly win or like, be the, the winning team or whatever. Like a lot of it is like we were all just dicking around with each other. Like we were like joking with, I mean, sometimes like it would get a little stale, like, and they would just kind of play the game normally. And then either me or, if Desolator was playing, he would, or there were a couple of other people that would do this. We would just like start dicking around and then the game would be fun again, so. And then everybody would be in on it because that would be the pace that's going on. So it's just, but it's hard, like, because I've actually played Among Us with like a group of people that I knew personally, and they were all so hardcore serious about it. Like, you ever want to play like the most painful game of Among Us ever? Play it with a couple of lawyers. Like, play Among Us with like 2 or 3 lawyers. Tell me how much fun that is, okay? Because I have played Among Us with like 2 or 3 lawyers, and no bueno. It's not a good time, man. But I'm kind of glad that game is not really as popular as it used to be. Like I'm kind of tired. I was getting tired of seeing it everywhere all the time, but
Another thing we should try to get a group together for is there's a couple of online clients for Cards Against Humanity.
I have Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, the Tabletop Simulator objects are really wonky.
Well, I think that's kind of part of the fun, but I was just gonna say, because I'm pretty sure Tabletop Simulator has Cards Against Humanity in it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I believe so, but then everybody needs Tabletop Simulator.
True. Like, I guess, yeah, we could look into like a web client or something. That might be kind of fun.
Well, I mean, there's cardsagainstonline.com. That's a free Java-based web client. And I mean, if we're never going to get a Jack Party game night together, this is also something that we could.
Yeah, I mean, I really did want to do Jack Party stuff, but it's really difficult to organize that. It's so difficult to organize that. Like, I think you and me, like, out of the few times that we tried to organize it, we got like one successful run of the game, and like 1 or 2 of the people that invited couldn't show up anyways, So like,
yeah, we got DLG to come once.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
We got DLG to come once. Yeah. Mike and Carly were supposed to do it, but Carly could never get it to work.
Right. That still feels like something that just wouldn't happen, though.
Probably not at this point.
Yeah. I have like, I always love it when some people, not going to drop any names or anything, but some people will be like, oh yeah, like I'm going to get into this. And you're just like, my immediate response is, you won't. It's okay, man. You won't. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to play blah, blah, blah. Like, I promise I'm going to play blah, blah. I'm like, you won't. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to get on Final Fantasy 14. No,
yeah. You won't.
You won't.
I'm going to play Inscription. You won't. I'm going to play, I'm going to play Core Keeper. Yeah, I'll play Core Keeper. You won't.
No, you won't.
You won't.
Yeah, you won't. We totally know you're not gonna.
You won't. It's okay.
Yeah.
What are some other good ones that I can think of?
Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
You won't.
Yeah, you're right. I won't.
You won't.
You're right. You're right. I won't.
That's literally like I always love saying that whatever because like I feel like I there's a lot of people that I've watched who like they'll be like consistent gamers or like they'll be gaming only like they'll be gaming channels or and some of them obviously also like won't even be gaming channels, there'll be other kinds of channels and they'll be like, oh yeah, like I'm totally going to get into blah blah blah, and like they'll say it for like months and months and months, and you're just like, you won't, just keep doing what you're doing, it's fine, don't worry about it, like you won't. It's okay, I'm not mad, it's just stating facts, that's all. You don't have to lie to me, man, it's okay. Oh man. But and I also have like myself, I have like a backlog of games that I need to get into, and I'm trying to like make time for them, but also for me personally. And I mean, I get it for other people as well. It's like you have to be like in the right kind of mood for it, you know? Like that's how I am with games. Like I have to like really be in the right kind of mood. There were a couple games that I started and then I just was like, for example, like I remember telling you a while ago, I was working on playing a dating sim and I was like really excited about it and I got really deep into it. Just stop playing it. Like I just haven't felt it, you know? I don't even know if I'm going to finish it at this point. And it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just I just kind of stopped wanting to play it, you know? Like got to be in that right kind of mood set, you know? But
Yeah, I gotcha.
yeah. I promise I'll come back to Core Keeper. Like I got really into it, which means and I still really enjoy it, and I will come back to it, just like all the other games. Like I will come back to Core Keeper. I will come back to Minecraft. Like I will, I'll come back to Inscription eventually. Like I'll come back to Emerald. I know some of you guys out there, like you're like, where's Emerald coming back? I'll come back to it eventually, maybe, possibly. But I gotta be feeling it, man. Gotta be feeling it.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
And I mean, while you're feeling it, I've pretty much prepped an entire package
That's hot.
well, yeah, I'm gonna put it right in your box.
You should.
Yeah, just
My
shove it
big
right.
hot box.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
your your boy
Yeah.
box.
Hell yeah. I like
Got so
that.
much package. Got so much
That's awesome.
package there.
I like it. I like it. We should definitely plan a Phasmophobia stream, Lettuce. We should do that sometime. I know that the one time that you actually played it with us, me and Cinder Shadow, it got all kinds of messy, mostly on my side, and that was really sad. Um,
I
but
mean, I'd be willing to do it.
yeah.
The game didn't perform well for me, which was
Oh,
weird.
really?
Given that I have a 3070,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I reduced it. I reduced the game all the way down to 720p,
Yeah.
and
Well, I mean,
it
on
still
my
kind of
side,
looked weird.
my game kept crashing. Remember, like I kept getting kicked out all the time. It was really terrible.
Yeah, and I kept dying.
I just realized something.
Got my
Is
butt
this
cheeks clapped.
is this a Cinder Shadow thing? Think about it. He was the one hosting the room, right? Is that like how that works, right?
I do not know how that game's network works.
Yeah.
Network stuff works. I would assume that it uses the Steam backend a little bit
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to ensure connection stability.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could be, just Cinder Shadow's, terrible computer that
Which is funny because he's got a new one.
that he's trying to like run a game and stream and run
Yeah, man.
Discord in the back and then run Discord in the background.
Oh man.
That you'd hope that his system. I mean, I've seen his parts list and stuff
Mm-hmm.
because I think I helped him pick a few things out.
Yeah. Well, because like
'Cause-
he got a new computer. Like it got a bunch of new parts and built it from scratch. And
yeah, like he came to me for advice on parts and stuff,
yeah,
but he did it. And I'm somewhat aware of his parts list, and it's not horrible.
Well, I'm wondering if it's like not necessarily something under his control, but like if it's like something related to like his
His
internet.
internet,
Yeah, because his
his
internet's kind
his
of sketch balls.
his Canadian internet.
Yeah, yeah, his sketchy ass internet. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, because I was having so much trouble that one time when you and me and Cinder were playing together. It was so awful. I literally crashed like my game would crash like almost every game. It was pretty awful. And then I was just like, screw this, I quit. I'm done. I don't want to do this. Like I get like when I have that many technical troubles with my stream, I get so mad. I get so mad. Like I just rage quit. Like I hate having technical issues when I'm like streaming. It makes me like cuz I get so embarrassed and I'm like, "Ugh. Ugh. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Why?" And I'm just like, I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm so mad. I'm gonna go punch a hole in my wall. Yeah, you and me should play some more. We should play some more party games at some point. I really want to do that. Or like I want to do like a big group of like gaming that would be really fun. Like I really want to go and do prop hunt again. That's what I really want to do. Like I tried to like this was quite a long time ago. Me, Cinder, and Cobalt, we all did like a big old prop hunt match, and it ended up just being me and Cobalt playing the whole time. And meanwhile, Cinder Shadow is literally just streaming himself, you know, just not doing anything because he can't get it to work. I felt so bad, and I just want to play prop hunt because it was so fun. And also, like, I think prop hunt is becoming popular again, which is kind of interesting. Um, but have you ever played prop hunt?
No, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Okay, prop hunt is basically hide and seek. It's a video game version of hide and seek, basically. And what it is it's called prop hunt because you have one or a few people be props, which means like they go in as like a normal form, and they find like an item somewhere inside the map, and then they transform themselves into the item. And then there's like a few people who play as hunters, which means now they have to. And then basically, like when you become an item, you find a good spot, and then you try to like stationary yourself and make it look like that you're part of the environment. And then the hunters have to come in and try to find you and have to try and distinguish you from like the other, items and props in the game. So like, and the whole thing too is that like when the hunters like shoot things that are not correct, they lose health. So like they have like, and there's also a timer. So like you have to like try to like not get caught before like you have to try and not get caught and run down the timer, or you have to hope that your hunters are making so many mistakes with their weapons that they kill themselves. So
Oh,
and then the hunter's job is obviously to try and find and kill all the people disguised as props before the timer runs out. So it's basically hide and seek. That's the whole point. And it's super fun. It's like a super fun game. Like I love it. It's such a good time. Um, but yeah, I played it with Cobalt and Cinder Shadow. Cinder Shadow didn't really actually get to play it because he spent the whole stream screaming at his computer. um, so yeah, man. But it's a great game. Like I would love to like play that with a big group of people. Like if we got you, me, Cinder Shadow, Desolator, maybe a few other people. I don't know. I don't know who else would join us, but that would be super cool. But yeah, man. Silly party games, dude. That's the best. That is the best. I was thinking. I know that we were going to talk about some other stuff, and we kind of just started talking about games. But you know what was catching my interest recently, dude? I've been keeping track recently of movies that have been coming out, and I thought I'd pick your brain on movies.
My brain is pickable for movies. I think
Yeah,
I'm pretty knowledgeable when it comes to the cinema.
nice. Well, I mean, I've been seeing some like weird previews for all sorts of stuff, and it's like I'm not much of a moviegoer anymore. I'm really not. I think movies suck, for the most part. Well, I mean, movies nowadays, anyways. And but I saw some stuff that was like making me laugh. I saw like one of the ones that really got my brain churning was you've seen the preview for what's it called? Black Adam, right? You saw that?
Yeah, no. After you mentioned it, I was like, really? They're doing a movie off that guy? I
Yeah.
saw the trailer and I'm like, oh, I guess they are. The Rock, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I
Well,
mean, because
they can't do that character with the if they're using the Rock, they can't use that character correctly.
yeah, there's no way.
There's just no way.
I think I saw somebody say like it's the Rock flick of the month, right? Like it's just like go out and marathon all the Rock movies. Just what is it's like what is this movie? It's a Rock movie. Like what's this one? Oh, it's a Rock movie. Like and they're all like it's just him. It's just him playing himself being it's idolization, right? Like you don't go and see a movie, you go and you see an actor, right? Like it's like you don't go and see Top Gun, you go and see Tom Cruise, right? Or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah, or
yeah.
or you don't go and see like literally any main franchise movie like you know I don't know. You don't go and see Spider-Man, you go and see Tom Holland. You don't go and see
I don't know. Spider Man would have been Spider like they could have put anybody inside that spider suit, and then people are still seeing Spider Man. I think Spider Man actually does kind of uh still kind of exists
hmm.
because nobody knew who Tom Holland was before he got pegged for to be the third Spider Man.
Okay, how about this? You don't go and see Uncharted, you go and see Tom Holland. Is that a little better?
I mean, you can just stop it. You don't go see Uncharted because it's a video game movie and those things suck. The last good video game movie was was Super Mario. And it might have
like
been, and
the
it might have been the only one.
that like the old one from like the 90s? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah.
one, yeah, the one with Leguizamo.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just feel like sad that like movies are the way that they are now because like I said, like it just feels like it's just idolization. It's just like you're not going to go see a movie, you're going to go see an actor play a character of like a story. And it's like who gives a shit about the story because you're there to go see the actor be the actor. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Like there's a bunch of actors that are like that all the time. Like what I suddenly forgot his name and I feel terrible. Who's the actor who plays Deadpool? I forgot his name all of a sudden.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Every Ryan Reynolds
You forgot Ryan Reynolds.
I did.
Shame, shame.
I just forgot his name temporarily. Lay off, man. I'm bad with names.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is never gonna sleep with you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ryan Reynolds. I'm sorry. But like, like you go and see a Ryan Reynolds movie because Ryan Reynolds is in it. It's like nobody actually wanted to go and see Free Guy. People wanted to go see Ryan Reynolds because he's in Free Guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's that I could buy. That I could buy, but it's honestly a case by case thing. Like the Superman movies, it like
Henry Cavill.
There are certain characters that it doesn't necessarily matter who's playing them.
Yeah.
Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, I would argue like half the X-Men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it doesn't necessarily matter who's playing them. Robert Downey Jr. No one cares that he's playing Sherlock Holmes.
Right, because
Sherlock Holmes was a movie that people were going to see regardless of who's playing Sherlock Holmes.
I
That
don't
character,
know.
that character has a following.
I don't know though, but like the whole thing is that they want to like pull a larger audience by, putting in like, a high listed actor, because they
When
know that
I
the
think the
audience is going to be
first,
so much larger when they do
I
that.
think the first Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movie was before Iron Man. So Robert Downey Jr. at the time was a B-list actor.
Are
He
you
went from
sure?
I'm fairly certain the first Sherlock Holmes, the first
I swear that was post Iron Man.
oh no, you're right.
Yeah,
It,
that's what I thought.
the first Iron Man was 2008. I thought it was 2010.
No, no, no.
I thought it was 910. Okay, well then they were casted about this, but you got to realize he was probably doing filming for both films at the same time, and he was probably tagged for both films at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
but that would honestly make sense because that was about when he was trying to bring his career back from the dead.
well,
Because
I mean,
Robert Downey.
Iron Man is what brought his career back from the dead.
Well, but the thing is he like so he was going through a lot of really bad stuff before that time, and he was
Yeah,
like he got himself cleaned up, and he was like, okay, I'm now cleaned up. Now I can start like trying to sell myself as an actor for some high level productions. So he's like, I'm just going to hit on like a bunch of different things. Like I'll go for the Sherlock Holmes, I'll go for the Iron Man, I'll go for this, I'll go for that. And like, I'll see what sticks. And then Iron Man ended up being, the big one. But I mean, by that time he was, cleaned up and trying to like apply himself to a bunch of stuff. So, but I don't know. I just like, I do feel like though that a lot of like I mean obviously if you go back to like the past like you went back to 2009 and 2010 like yeah like that's less like my point is less true at that point, right? But I feel like nowadays like in the current like time that we have now, it's not about going to see a story or a film, it's about going to see your favorite actor or actress, like.
I
And
mean,
that's
I would agree to that's about 80% true.
yeah. And it
There
really
are there are certain characters. It's again, I'm probably beating you to the punch on this one. There's certain characters that people care about and people want to see, and that's why comic book movies have pretty much dominated the box office for the past what it turns out to be 10, 12 years.
yeah. I'm so goddamn tired of comic book movies, dude. I'm so over
Me
it.
too. Like, I mean, I want to be perfectly honest. I believe movies are dead.
Yeah, they are. Like my dad, my dad is like a very hardcore moviegoer. Like he loves watching movies, loves collecting movies. Like he's just a movie head. And I was talking to him on the phone about like Black Adam because that's the one that caught my attention that made me start thinking about all this stuff. And he was just like, "Oh yeah, I don't even go and see movies anymore." He's like, "It's just a waste of goddamn time. Like they're all shit." Like and he's like, and even he was even telling me he's like even the ones that seem promising are not worth my time because like he's like I don't have the like time and the money to like go and waste on a movie that looks like it could be promising, but 9 times out of 10 is probably going to end up being shit when I can just wait until it comes onto a streaming platform that I'm like paying for regularly for a bunch of other things and like
Yeah.
just conveniently watch it on that. So
Yeah, I've noticed like theaters are getting a small resurgence. I mean, the current economy is going to fix that.
yeah. Yeah.
But like there was a window where like it's at the beginning of the year where people suddenly decided to stop being afraid of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then the economy buckles. But there was a little time frame in between there where it looked like movie theaters were making a resurgence.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I just do not understand it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine these movie theaters think that. I mean, these movie studios think that the theater model was making them a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the only way to go at this point for a lot of movie theaters is like, have you ever been to one of those like 5-star theaters where it's like they're like a restaurant and bar at the same time?
Oh yeah,
And
they like serve you like actual dinner,
yeah,
and
like
you
a
like
like a ribeye steak with like, like a martini or some shit like that, and you're sitting back in a recliner
yeah
watching a movie.
you get like a real recliner to yourself with
Yeah.
like a food arm tray.
Yeah, and it's got like a tablet built into it so you can like order more shit while you're sitting there watching the movie.
Yeah,
Like I I've been to one of those once and it was single hand like, and the thing is that I went to one of those once and the movie that we saw was a piece of shit. It was like such a bad movie. But the overall experience of like being served like a 5-star meal, with having like a really nice, like no joke, a nice dressed up waiter walking into the theater with a tray on his hand and like serving me like, a ribeye steak, and then puts my like, my martini or whatever the it is that I ordered for alcohol like next to it. And he tells me like, here's your steak, it's cooked like medium rare, and like he was like explaining it to me. Movie's still running. I don't give a shit. It's a piece of shit movie, but goddamn, that experience was amazing. Like, I don't give a crap. I don't even remember. Like, I remember what movie it was that I saw, but I don't remember anything that happened in that movie at all because it was so bad. But I will never forget that experience, like, because it was such a
yeah.
great experience.
I went to one in Nashville.
Yeah.
Uh, I was I went on a date with this one chick. This is before I met Courtney, and
Uh huh.
I'm trying to remember because it was a Marvel movie, and I'm trying to remember if it was Civil War or Thor Ragnarok.
Uh huh.
I'm thinking it was Civil War.
I would have loved to have gone to one of those like, fancy theaters and seen Civil War because that's my favorite Marvel movie. That's the only one I like anymore.
But yeah, no, had a nice like 5-star meal,
Mm-hmm.
and an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah. And I also love it that those, like, I don't know about the one that you went to specifically, but the one that I went to, it prohibits children. Like, they're like, children are not allowed in this theater. And I'm like, yes, thank you.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
it's probably because they serve alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, it's
Uh,
just a better experience.
I
It's an
don't
adult
care.
experience.
I mean, it's an adult experience, but also like, you know, kids deserve to have that kind of like comfort level if they can be behaved enough to enjoy it.
I mean,
But I'm not.
yeah.
I'm opposed to the whole banning. I'm opposed to the whole age banning unless it's required because of their alcohol license.
Yeah.
That's fine. I got kicked out of an Irish bar. Me and my ex-wife got kicked out of. We went to this pub
Right.
because it was like they were like fine Irish cuisine. I was like, oh, I can get some fish and chips for
That does
lunch.
sound good.
And so me and my ex-wife go, and this was like when Xavier was like 2 days old. We
Sure.
got kicked out of the bar for a 2-year-old.
Oh.
They're like, no, you can't be here with him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's 2. He's like, yeah, but we can't serve. It's like, we're not going to drink alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit at the bar. And they're like, no, he just bruh. I'm like, okay. Never went back there again.
Yeah. I mean, like, we have like pubs in my area. Like, I mean, we have bars and we have pubs. And the bars, no children allowed whatsoever. But like the pubs will be like, okay, like children are allowed in here, but they just can't be up at the bar and that's it. So,
Yeah, see, I thought that was the rule. But they're like, no kids permanently. And I'm like, okay, fine. Just we'll never eat here again.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see like maybe some places can be a little more strict about it than others, but I don't know. I just really loved that particular theater experience and like the really 5-star one. But like I said, it wasn't even about the movie at that point because like what was the
Well, no, it's not. At that point, it's really not about the movie.
yeah.
It's about the you wish you had a movie theater, like you had like one of those, because that seating is the kind of seating if you have that you would get if you spent money on like a high end media room in your house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like the there's not like 200 people sitting in that theater. There's 50.
Yep.
Um, most people's personal like media rooms or something like that are never going to have more than like 10 people.
Yeah, I was about to say, I remember that because I went to I had that theater experience with my family, and there was nobody in there except for us. So it was literally like they had room for other people. And like if anybody else did show up for that particular, movie at that particular time, sure. Like sure there would have been
Or
other
whatever.
people. But we had that whole theater to ourselves, and it was goddamn amazing. Like it was just
Yeah,
this absolutely amazing personal fancy restaurant experience while sitting in a recliner like getting drunk and eating steak.
yeah. Like the one thing Andy and I both said as we were leaving is like, man, I would love to have like that kind of couching at like my place. Just
Yeah.
just to sit and watch YouTube videos.
Dude, yeah. It would be super cool if you could like I don't know if they would do something like that, but if you could reserve one of those theaters and just like watch whatever the hell you want, you know?
Yeah,
Just
just be like reserve one of those theaters for like 6 hours. It'd be hella expensive, but they give you like an HDMI port
that would be super rad. That would
to
legit be really rad.
to run into their projector.
Yeah, man. I'd be down for that. But yeah, basically my overall point was I think theaters in general like they need to like just kind of like stop. You know?
They need to make like E3 and GTFO.
Yeah, yeah. But I
Like,
mean the theaters that you and me just talked about would be great to keep around. And also like have you ever been to those theaters that are like
those theaters are incredibly uh are incredibly insolvent. Those theaters were the first ones AMC closed during like permanently closed during COVID.
mhm,
Like
mhm.
the like when AMC was like, oh, we're in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
Those were the first ones that AMC shuttered, and a lot of them never reopened.
Yeah. That's too bad. The
Um,
the really
so
fancy ones you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then they come out of it, and then we go right back, and now we're going right into a recession. It's just there is no way that business model survives any prolonged like economic strife.
Mhm. Well, cuz it's an indulgent experience. That's why.
It's like extreme luxury experience, and
Yeah.
I have to imagine like the upkeep on those things. Like I don't know if you remember how much your tickets were, but mine were 30 a person.
Yeah, I don't exactly remember because I was treated to that experience.
Well, of course you were.
Because my
I
family
could
loves me.
uh-huh. It was 30 a person, and that was not even the meat. That didn't even include food.
Probably not even alcohol either.
Like, no, yeah, that was your
Yeah.
ticket. That got you $30 got you your seat.
Yeah.
We spent now granted the food wasn't much more expensive than anything that you would get at like O'Charlie's.
Hmm.
Like to their credit, the food was a fairly decent price for the quality.
Yeah.
Maybe not the quantity you got. I remember
Hmm.
portions being a little small. But given the quality, you got Outback quality at like Logan's prices.
Right. I don't remember exactly like whether I recall that it was a great like their food was great. That's what I remember, but it was like a long time ago. Like that was like years ago that happened. So,
Yeah, but
you
it's
know.
$30. It was $30 a head before food,
Mhm.
and you're looking at a $25-$30 plate. So that's a
Right.
$60 experience.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
There is no way that business model is sustainable in
Mhm.
any kind of time of economic strife, because the first thing people cut back on is
Luxuries.
is exactly that kind of luxury expenditure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, like I mean, but the thing is too is even regular theaters are really luxurious. I mean, because they charge you out the ass. Like, like you're like you want to go and buy your like $20 bucket of popcorn. Like I mean,
Well, okay. I mean, they charge you. I mean, this is. I mean, you're preaching in the choir. This is kind of like
yeah,
why I think the because I can't imagine whatever licensing or rental rights movie theaters get to distribute to get from the distributors from the
yeah,
movie studios. It can't be enough. It can't be that much more lucrative than what Paramount would get for just throwing their own movies on their own streaming service.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, they probably like. I mean, at this point, I think streaming services are just straight up making more money than theaters, right? Like it's got to be at this point. Like that's
Yeah,
just where we are. Is like
yeah.
with
I mean,
technology
just
and consumption. Like you know,
yeah, like so a movie. So a person goes to a movie theater maybe once a week.
sure.
Maybe most people only go maybe once a month.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, you can only fit so many people in a movie theater. Like most of your common theaters have about 150 room capacity.
Right.
I don't know what the cut is of that ticket price. Like, let's assume it's 50-50. So $8 a head if the movie theater fills, which they haven't been lately.
Hmm.
Um, that's $1,000 for that showing
Right.
that the studio's getting back. They can get like thousands of people to sit in an hour to watch that movie, and
Hmm.
they can get it, and they can do it 24/7. I just
Because of the streaming service, right?
Yeah, because of the
Yeah.
streaming service, and they get
Yeah.
the full and they're getting the full cost of whatever the streaming service costs, which is like $15 a month.
Hmm. Well, and also too is that like people can be like really picky. Like you can get
Mm-hmm.
away with having like multiple different things come out relatively quickly, and you don't have
Right.
to worry about like how many you know theater rooms are available to be able to run multiple of those programs or movies or whatever. So
Yeah,
like you have a stream.
a studio isn't going to release Iron Man, and it's not going to release Iron Man and Thor on the same weekend.
Yeah, because they would.
That would just
Yeah,
be suicide.
exactly. But like with a streaming service, I mean, you could get
Do
away
it.
with that. Yeah,
Do it.
yeah.
Like, you're not going to kill like the first year, like you're not going to kill the first week sales of one of your movies to release them, side by side.
Hmm.
And you don't have to worry about Disney Pixar releasing something and cutting into and cutting into your sales there.
Yeah,
With the way the model works, even competing streaming services, because everybody has everything.
right.
Because it with Disney Plus and between Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, and all that other stuff, like if you're ditching a premium cable subscription
Hmm. Hmm.
and you have the five major streaming services, you're still actually paying less still, which is kind of a miracle.
Yeah. But the thing is too is that the studio, like the whole thing with the streaming is that it's just smarter because they're cutting out the middleman, right? They
Yeah,
don't have to like go through a theater and like have.
they don't have to pay a distributor, and they don't have to pay a theater. They could take the movie, just plop it on their server,
Yep.
and be like, "Yay!"
Yep. And they can make it like, because of the streaming service, it's cheaper for the user, but they're still getting the full profit that goes directly back to like the studio or whatever.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's yeah. So movie theaters just stop. just
yeah.
just stop, man.
Take a cue from the E3s
Yeah.
and just
Well,
especially if you're not going to give us something that's worth going out to see.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I have to say though that like that I do hope sticks around for long run is like the little kind of private artsy like theaters that are in like downtown areas and things like that where they run like, art films, student films, like old films or like do
No,
special events so
no,
you don't like those? You don't like those?
no, those are always so nasty.
Okay, so I am actually excited about. So I have a private sort of artsy theater in the downtown area of where I live, and one of the things that I'm super goddamn excited about, like I'm literally like so excited about it. Like I'm planning. It'll probably be the first movie I've seen in a theater in years. I'm planning on pre-ordering tickets for it. Is this theater in a couple of months is going to be doing a a viewing of Gone with the Wind in theater. I gotta see it.
I mean, I guess I'm just a turbo hermit. Like, I don't need to be around like 12 pretentious
Bruh.
to watch Gone with the Wind.
I gotta see it in theater, dude. I have to. Like
Do you though?
I do. I actually so there's a story. There's actually a story about this. Okay. I don't think
Okay.
yeah, there's a story. There's a reason. You'll understand in a minute.
It's that, or I'm just gonna still think you're weird.
You probably will still think I'm weird, but there is a whole story. So
Okay, share it.
a long time ago, I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and my was I 5 or 6 years? I don't think I was 5 or 6 years old. I think I was a little bit older than that. I think I was probably at least 10 or something like that, maybe. Um, Basically, my father and stepmother at the time found out that a local theater was going to do basically what happened was Gone with the Wind had just gone through an anniversary where they were celebrating and they had just fixed up and cleaned up the film. Like so they're re-releasing it and it's all cleaned up and it's all fancy and nice looking, like they touched it up, made it look beautiful, like redid it. I mean obviously not refilmed it, but they, made it look nicer after its aging. And they were doing a special release where they were going to drop it into theaters for a very short amount of time for anybody to come and see it. And there were only a few theaters that were running it. So my father and my stepmother decide they're going to do this, but they're going to take me. Now, I'm like, a young kid. I'm like, I want to say the oldest I would have been is like 10 years old, maybe. And they take me with them and to go see this movie. And I am just the absolute most miserable piece of shit child to be around. Okay. so so I'm like, complaining, I'm upset, I don't like the movie, I'm bored, like yelling and being annoying and like
I
all
mean,
this
it's Gone
stuff.
with the Wind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gone with the Wind is one of those like highly overrated. I think it's like highly overrated films.
I mean, I mean, you can say that and you like, I think it's a great film. But
I mean,
this
it's
is
good.
I think it's a great film. Like this is upon reflection after having seen it when I became an adult. Like when I was like in my 20s, I saw it for the first time as an adult and I was like, this is like one of the best films I've ever seen and I'm not going to take that back. But anyways, I'm like this piece of shit child in this theater making everybody miserable around everybody. And my father decides, well, he's got to, my stepmother gets to stay and watch the film, but my father has to take me outside the theater and just hang out with me through the entire film. Doesn't get to watch it in theater or nothing. And so he didn't get to have that experience. And yeah, and the thing is that like for the longest time I didn't really care, like, and my dad told me that about that like later on. I was like whatever. And then I got into my 20s and I watched Gone with the Wind for like the first time with like adult eyes, like in my 20s. And like like I said, like you could say it's overrated, fine. I think it's a masterpiece of a movie. Like I watched it as an adult and I'm like, this is seriously straight up one of the greatest films I've ever seen in my entire life. And then because of that, like I told my dad about like having watched it and having this respect. And he of course has to tell me the whole story about me being a piece of shit like 10-year-old child or whatever. Um so now, which is funny because my dad is not going to have the chance to go and see this movie as far as I know. But the thing is I'm going to take the opportunity in August to go to this theater and watch Gone with the Wind on the big screen, and I'm really excited about it. So there you go. And I mean, I do wish that I could actually. There's two things. I wish that I could give my father the chance to see it again in theater, but I also kind of wish that my father had just gotten me a babysitter when I was a piece of shit kid. Like I kind of wish he just did that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Probably.
yeah,
Probably the babysitter was for the best.
yeah. But but yeah. So I like those kinds of theaters that do that. Like I said, like there's one in the downtown where I live, and they do run special events. They also do they do plays, like they do special screenings of movies and art films and things like that. And I kind of like that. Like I remember when I was living in California, there was one like that in downtown Sacramento. And every once in a while, me and my dad on special occasions, we would go to we would go to see like one of those movies, like one of those fancy arty movies. And then there was a bar that would not be too far away, and we would go and we'd get beers. So I mean, I like that stuff. And I also remember seeing what was it? Rocky Horror Picture Show in one of those theaters as well for the first time. It was a lot of fun. And I saw it on Halloween night. It was great. So I mean, I have lots of good experiences with those little arty kind of theaters. So I hope that those kind of stick around and keep doing it. But I feel like also, despite me saying that, I also feel like those are considered one of the more luxurious kinds of things. Where
Really?
those would.
Because typically it's been my experience that those art house theaters are shit.
I mean, if you're a person that's only had bad experiences with them, I can see why you would feel that way.
Like health code violation shit.
Not that I can particularly say that I'm aware of.
Okay, it might have just been like the three that I've been to, but
Okay.
they're if they do goofy, like they're probably the fault is that they do goofy things,
Mm-hmm.
like screenings for uh Rocky Horror,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they don't clean up after those.
Well, that just sounds like, they're just irresponsible at that point. Like, I mean,
That's probably that they're irresponsible, but three different art house films in two different cities,
mhm,
film houses in two different cities, all of them have the same issue.
mhm,
I'm like, "Ugh." And to be perfectly honest, like that art house thing,
mhm,
I honestly think those kind of films would benefit more from the exposure a streaming, like a dedicated streaming service would provide. Like imagine something like PBS for art house streaming. Something I'm like envisioning something like that. I think that would help that industry out just a little bit more than keeping that those films kind of tucked away in those hole in the wall theaters.
Well, I think that an important part of it is that also like the whole point of what I was saying also with that story that I was telling about me being a piece of shit child preventing my dad from seeing that movie. That was like an experience of seeing that particular movie on a big screen. So like it wasn't about like because I mean I actually own a digital copy of Gone with the Wind on my computer. I do. I could
Right.
watch it at any time. In fact, actually, that was how I watched it when I was like an adult for the first time watching it. Like that's how I watched it. Was I saw it on my own because I was like, oh, I have this like digital copy of it on my computer. I'll watch it this way. That's convenient, and that's how I saw it. But I mean, like the reason why I want to go and see it at this art house theater is because it's going to be in its full glory, like one of the greatest movies of all time, my opinion, on the big screen in all of its glory. And I mean, that's also like the same idea of like going to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, I mean, it's a combination of you get to see it in all of its glory on the big screen, but also part of that too for the Rocky Horror Picture Show specifically. And there's some other, cult classic films that, have kind of the same thing going on with them, which is it's also a community experience. You go there
Right.
with a bunch of friends, you're having a silly time. Maybe you'll meet some wackadoodles in the process who are drinking and being silly and having a good time watching Rocky Horror Picture Show as well. So
Rubs
like
their penis in your ear.
sure. I mean everybody's kind of got their own way of having fun, so why not?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think a part of it is that it's part of having the experience of watching a cult classic or an artsy film on the big screen to have that specific experience. But also, it's all, part of it is also, oh, it's a cult classic. We're going to go there to have a good time and meet a bunch of people and be silly as well. Whereas with normal theaters, it's just, this is the new popular hit film. I just want to see it. I don't care how I see it. It doesn't need to be on the big screen. I just want to see it because it's the new hit film. So, like, I think it's kind of a difference based on,
My question is do you know what kind of projector they're using?
oh, on the theaters?
Because
No, I don't. I don't.
because like you have a digital version of Gone with the Wind
Sure.
on your computer,
Yeah.
and you play it on your and you play it on your digital display,
Sure. Yeah.
and your digital display, I'm assuming, is about 27 to 32 inches.
I think so actually. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have you're not playing on a 75-inch television like I am.
So my digital copy is on my computer that is in my bedroom, and that screen is smaller, because it goes with that computer. I have a very large television in my living room, which is what the computer that you and me are, like what
Right.
I'm
Okay.
using right now. So
Okay.
I think my main
So
television is a pretty large one. I can't remember exactly the dimensions of it, but it's pretty goddamn large.
my apprehension is a lot of these theaters have had to move to digital projection
Hmm.
because it actually is cheaper to run a digital projector than it is to maintain the film projector,
Hmm.
because the film projector requires you to have projectionists, because you
I know
actually
what you're
need
talking about. I know what you mean.
because you actually need that engineer there to
Yeah,
be able to run the projection,
like
to run the film through,
swapping reels and stuff like that.
running the film through the projection.
Yeah,
That's a person you have to pay, and that's actually not like a common, that's not an unskilled labor task.
yeah,
So a lot of these, especially independent movie houses, have had to move to digital projection,
sure.
which for newer movies, great. Everything is shot digitally. However, films that have been shot on film and then transposed digitally look horrible.
Mm.
They didn't translate to HD. Like, if there wasn't a remastered specifically remastered done to HD
Yeah,
or 4K, but they're trying to do AI upscaling from the original, from the original 16:9 widescreen film projection, the film negative. If you just try to AI upscale that, I don't know if you've seen this, like even a movie like Gone with the Wind, or not Gone with the Wind, the Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a Lord of the Rings DVD and put it into a Blu-ray player to play on a 1080 to play on a very new 1080p HDR screen,
Right.
Lord of the Rings looks like it was filmed like a made-for-television movie. You know how a lot of times the made-for-television movies have like have an issue with like over sharpness
Sure.
and like oversaturation?
Mm-hmm.
You get that effect from seeing films that were not professionally remastered for professionally digitally remastered for high definition.
Okay.
And they just let the image processor upscale it. Oh, it looks horrific.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think if I remember correctly, the version that I have on my computer looks great. I mean, that's what I recall. Because I
Okay.
think that if it was not in a good quality, I probably would have remembered that. That seems like something that I would have remembered.
Okay.
Um,
I was just that's my only concern there is like they're probably just showing the version that you have on your computer.
I
Like
mean, that's
I'm pretty sure the one like if there's a digital download version that you found,
right.
they probably, I mean, did you sell the 7 Cs to get that, or did you actually like buy it?
Um, if I remember correctly, the way that I acquired it was that my parents had the original movie, and then it came with a digital copy, and it was like the version that they had was on Blu-ray, and because I think it's digitally remastered, and
Okay, so they got that copy of the digital remaster that
yeah,
that you were like somebody took that digital remaster that you were a little shit for,
yeah,
and probably did another remastering to get it out of to get it into a spot where it wouldn't look like crap in 4K.
I mean, I guess, and but the thing is too is that like if if I were to find out that the theater is running a digital remaster on a digital prompt or whatever, I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. Like, I mean, I don't like it's fine. Like, it doesn't bother
Oh,
me
that
that
would
it's.
no. My problem is like sometimes what they've done
Mhm.
is they got a digital projector, but they got their hands on a unlicensed copy
Oh, okay.
or like a unprofessional upgrade,
Mhm.
because what they did was they took the film and they ran it through a copier and put it on a DVD
Right.
and said here,
Mhm.
taking the film, the kind of known imperfections that film projection gave a thing that directors of photography had to be aware of when they were shooting films. Like,
Right.
and a lot of them knew how to work into it. Trying to digitize those, it's going to look bruh. So that's kind of why I'm like, ugh.
So I was kind of curious, and I found out that the last time, because and it doesn't surprise me because listen, Gone with the Wind is considered this huge, influential, game changing film,
Oh yeah,
so it's kind of a big deal,
if there's a film that somebody's going to maintain an archival copy
right?
that actually works with current with the way people currently view films, it's going to be The Wizard of Oz, it's going to be The Sound of Music, and it's going to be Oklahoma
Yeah, and Gone with the Wind, like
and Gone with
so.
the Wind.
So the reason why I said that is I was curious and I looked it up, and the basically what happened was in 20, so this is the most current, okay? That's why I'm saying this is relevant. This is the most
Uh-huh.
current. 2019 was the 80th year anniversary of Gone with the Wind, which means on the 80th year anniversary 2019 Gone with the Wind, they digitally remastered it again. The last
Okay.
time that it was digitally remastered before 2019 was in 2014. So basically, they've done multiple digital remasters many, many times over
Okay.
multiple different anniversaries. So
Okay,
it was
so
recently remastered in 2019.
so you just got to hope that this movie theater is using the current version.
I mean, it would be kind of weird if they didn't, to be honest, considering when I looked up also prices, you can buy the most recent remastered version for like $7 on Blu-ray.
Yeah, but but the thing is these indie art house theaters, they're not tied into distributors very well.
Oh, this is interesting. So I looked a little deeper, and apparently the 80th anniversary version, which I was just explaining, is actually going for about $30. The one that's $7 is the 70th anniversary remastered edition.
Yeah, the
So it
seven.
looks like they update it every 10 years.
Yeah,
And the most current version is always going to be the most expensive.
or at least if there is anytime that there's a major change in the way media is
Yeah.
presented. That, as I said, there's like a small handful of films that are just going to that are always going to be remastered. You're going to get The Wizard of Oz,
Mm-hmm.
Gone with the Wind, Sound of Music,
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Sure. Sure.
Things like that are going to be preserved,
Right.
just because of their cultural status.
I think the remastering that my father tried to take me to and failed at was the Gone with the Wind 1998 digital remaster, which is
Yeah,
also listed here as well.
that was a cleaning remaster. That was
Yeah.
slightly before DVDs. That one, theaters were starting to migrate from just classic film projectors to actual DLP, Dolby Vision, Laserdisc, or optical, digital, uh, basically Laserdisc type
Yeah.
media projectors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that would be why that movie got picked up
Mm-hmm.
and cleaned, and that
Yeah.
was probably one of the first cleanings.
I think so too. I think because I remember that it was a big deal when this happened. Like the one that I'm talking about, 1998. I remember it was because I think it was supposed to be the first real big one. Like that was like when they're like,
Almost as big as the re-release for Star Wars, which came out about that time. Which came out about that time too.
Han Solo shot first. Is that what you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's the Han Solo version. Yep. I
yeah,
remember that my dad made a big deal about it because we actually owned the original trilogy on VHS that had the original cuts.
yeah,
So it wasn't like remastered or changed. It was pre Han Solo.
yeah.
And
98. The remasters come out. The originals first time the originals re-released on VHS,
right. Yeah.
and
I
then
remember.
a couple years later, uh, you can only find the remaster versions on DVD.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever got the original cuts on
They did
DVD.
not. I actually
Yeah,
know for sure that because I remember my dad was really upset about it. He was really mad that they wouldn't release the original cuts on
yeah.
DVD. They wouldn't do it.
So like 97 was the last time you could buy on VHS the original cut.
Yep. We what happened was we lost the original cut VHS. Those went bye bye. And there's a whole story behind why those movies disappeared, but it's probably not an appropriate story to tell on the podcast.
Well,
So
I mean, shortly after you lost them, they probably would have degraded into nothing.
that's true.
Um,
Yeah.
VHS, the tape in the VHS was notoriously unstable.
Yeah. It's true. Still sucks that they refuse to ever release the original cuts though. That's really unfortunate. Um
I mean,
I
that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
yeah.
You would think Disney might. No, I'm actually surprised Disney hasn't released the original cuts as a special edition out of their
Like a
vault.
Yeah, I was literally about to say they like a vault cut or something.
Yeah, the
But
vault cut, like a limited edition FOMO release of the original trilogy.
yeah,
Surprised Disney hasn't tried to make that money.
I don't know. It's
It's
Star Wars. It's Star Wars
isn't it weird?
reserve list.
Isn't that funny? Like how we could just be like, man, how come this big organization failed to make so much money like for free? I used to hate that whole concept of the Disney Vault. They're like, oh, you could buy this movie for a limited time and it's going back in the vault. Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, this is gross.
So what I vaguely recall, I'm looking it up just to see if I can find any information about it before I say something that is misinformation. But what I vaguely recall is that the original cuts of Star Wars are literally just gone. That's what I thought I remember.
Oh, so Lucas just burned them.
That's kind of what I thought I remember hearing.
Oh no.
However,
Oh
I'm
no.
I'm trying to look up some information about it just so I'm not speaking out of my ass and saying something that's wrong. I did find it's like $190. Jesus Christ. I found it looks like it's a DVD release of it says Star Wars Trilogy widescreen theatrical edition DVD box set, which makes me wonder if it is in fact the original cuts.
I don't think they are.
They're
Like
probably not. They're
because
probably not.
the original cuts were it was my understanding the original cuts never made it to DVD.
Yeah. But yeah, from because like I remember talking about this with my dad.
So it's either I'm wrong or somebody ripped VHSs onto DVDs.
It's possible.
And they're charging $130 for it, and that is gross.
Yeah. The thing is that
it's yucky.
That's yucky. I remember talking about this with my father, and from what I remember, he said to a degree, the original versions were basically what you were saying, which is they were burned. So okay, getting this version. This has the original 1977, 1980, 1983 theatrical versions on the second disc specifically. Definitely worth the extra $80. Got it used, but it was incredible. I'm basically reading, like I'm trying to find information from people who actually own this version to see if they're actually saying that these are the original versions. So it looks like from what I'm seeing, based on the one I'm looking at, which is literally $190 box set, which is ludicrous. From what I'm seeing is that they're discs that are the ones that were the re-release versions, which are the Han Solo shot first copies. And then there are another set of discs, which are the original versions of the original films that were released in theaters.
Well, if those exist, then Disney has digital proofs at that point, and could have just re-released the 79 theatrical set on like Blu-ray and made a bunch of money.
Okay, so here's another review that I found that is actually really interesting. That actually kind of explains a little bit more. This review says, yes, there are 4 DVDs in this set, 4 and 6 special features, but none of the films should be described as the quote-unquote classic or quote-unquote original versions in any of the reviews. All Lucas quote-unquote improvements, Han Solo shot first, are included on these discs. Apparently, this guy says that the last time that the original theatrical versions without the Han Solo shot first versions were released was as a theatrical trilogy that was done specifically in the year 2006. It was done for a limited release, and now it basically doesn't exist anymore unless you want to pay literally an arm and a leg to get your hands on it. So, yeah, this guy's saying that this version that I'm looking at, which is $190 goddamn dollars, is still the Han Solo shot first version.
Oh,
Yeah.
Christ.
It's actually kind of interesting. Yeah, I didn't even know that they did a proper release, like they did the original release in 2006. But apparently it was limited and it was a one-time only thing. And they basically have not done it since then, is what the impression I'm getting from a few.
Was that a home release or was that because 2006 was right about Phantom Menace time?
Well, I don't know based on the comment that I'm reading here. So I could try and look it up real quick to see if there's.
It's not that important because Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Star Wars, but it's still interesting. Like the idea that, there's like these rare films that are nearly impossible to come by. As a person who collects rare cards, rare books, and other rare objects, rare films are also fairly interesting.
You're a rare object.
Thank you, I think. Basically, what I saw is that it's saying that the version that was released in 2006 is the only version. And it was like a box set or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's pretty, yeah.
Well, then there's a small shot that at some point Disney has their hands on.
Yeah.
Media that they can work with. So the fact that they haven't done that and tried to milk more money out of Star Wars fans, apparently they're sitting on a gold mine and just not doing anything about it. People are willing to pay $130 for Han shot first.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also part of the thing is too, based on the comments, a few of the comments I was reading, there are people who are willing to spend even more money to find the pre Han Solo shot first versions. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, they're just rare films and people want to see them because I'll be honest, the original versions are probably better from what I recall because I did watch the VHS versions when I was a kid. Right. So,
I mean, I would wager that I'm pretty sure somebody would willing to suck a dick for that version.
I'm sure. I'm sure, man.
Given Star Wars, given the precocity of some certain Star Wars fans.
Yeah. God, could you imagine there's like a whole like underground cabal, like black market for Star Wars films? Smuggling the like original versions around, trying to like be all secretive about it, and you have to be part of like a secret underground cult to get your hands on just a copy of the 2006 pre Han Solo shot first edition. Thou must suck thy dick in order to see pre Han Solo shot first. Saith thee, bend down on one knee as I knight thee, as you sucketh my dicketh. For Star Wars.
Man, you just took that way too far.
Come on, man. Like, we haven't had a real good dick joke in this podcast yet, so, you got to let me have at least one.
I mean, that was an attempt. that was you tried really hard to land that.
Come on, man. Come on.
You tried really hard to get that in there.
Come on, man. Just give me this. Just give it to me. Come on, man. Just come on. Laugh, man. Just come on. Just laugh, man.
Okay.
I mean, it's dick jokes.
It's a dick joke. I'm morally obligated to kick.
Oh man. It's kind of interesting though, because when I think about the whole thing with the Star Wars Han Solo shot first edits, is there any other film that has ever gone through that same kind of thing where like they edited it so heavily to like change it and then got rid of the original version? Like, I wonder if there's any other movies that have really experienced that. Like, because I can't think of any off the top of my head. Can you?
I mean, no, but the thing is I'm pretty sure it's happened. It's just nothing is as visible as few things in the world get as visible as Star Wars.
Yeah. Did Indiana Jones ever go through something like that? Why do I feel like did an Indiana Jones movie go through something like that? I'm trying to remember. I
No,
mean,
Spielberg is very cognizant
mhm.
of archiving. Like if Spielberg made a director's cut or change, he's absolutely going to try to sell you both copies. Spielberg was Indiana Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
George Lucas did
Star Wars,
Star
yeah.
Wars,
Yeah.
Howard the Duck, Animal House.
You know, the important films like Howard the Duck.
You want to know what?
Huh.
I would be down to see a remake of Howard the Duck.
Isn't Howard the Duck part of the Marvel universe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll probably see a Howard the Duck movie pretty soon. Like, I recall that one of the Marvel films, I think it was like Guardians of the Galaxy, did a Howard the Duck reference, didn't they?
Yeah, I believe there was a Howard the Duck cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy. I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
But just do a straight up one for one remake of Howard the Duck.
Mm-hmm.
It had mom from Back to the Future.
Yeah. 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 God, I want to watch those movies again, the Back to the Future movies. Those are so good. You know, speaking of Back to the Future, you know what I could never get into is Rick and Morty. Did you ever watch that show?
Not religiously. I caught a couple episodes here and there.
I watched like a couple of episodes and I was like, I'm not into this. Like, and like the reason why I brought it up is because I remember that the reason why people were trying to get me to watch it is they're like, you like, you know, the Back to the Future trilogy, right? And I was like, yeah, the Back to the Future trilogy is great. And they're like, okay, well then watch Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is basically the characters from Back to the Future. And I was like, oh, okay, well that sounds kind of fun. I'm down for that. And I watched like 2 episodes of Rick and Morty, and I'm like, I'm not really into this. This is not really my thing, you know. So,
Yeah,
but
no.
I love Back to the Future though. The movies are great.
Yeah, we could probably, and I'd probably be down for a Back to the Future like re-release or Back to the Future remake.
I don't know about a remake.
Well, okay, it kind of has to be a remake. Like you're not just going to get Back to the Future. You're not going to try to pull a Ghostbusters and get an actual Back to the Future sequel.
I'm more on the stance of leave it be.
Like, I mean, typically I would be, but the thing is like, there's some of these movies that are like '80s movies,
Yeah,
that I think could benefit from being like just straight up redone.
I mean,
Like
see,
there's some side like some 80s sci-fi movies that I think would really benefit from that would really benefit from today's technology. Like Back to the Future with today's effects.
see, when you say that, I suddenly thought of a film that I think I would be okay with seeing a remake of if it's done correctly.
The Last Navigator.
No, I was gonna say The Thing.
Oh, that one works too.
Yeah, The Thing would be really cool with today's graphics.
Man, the last Navigator.
I don't think I recognize that.
Was it like a Disney movie? I might actually be getting the name wrong.
I'm drawing a blank. I don't recognize that title. Is it like an animated film by Disney? Is it like a live action
No,
film?
it was a live action movie.
Right.
Hold on a second.
The Aviator? Is that what you're talking about? It The Aviator?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, Navigator.
The Aviator was about the guy who was obsessed with planes, right? And
I
he
believe
like
so.
locked himself in a theater to like watch like movies about planes or something.
Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, okay. Well, I still don't
Um,
recognize it.
it was an '86 sci-fi movie where this kid kind of falls into a ravine and ends up in a time traveling alien ship.
Huh. What was, you know what that suddenly sparked in my memory? What
And
was
you
the
know, the voice of the voice of the alien ship was done by Pee Wee Herman.
That's awesome. I've never
Like
heard or seen that film, but it sounds
like
great just from that.
no, it is totally awesome.
Okay. All right.
The child actor who did the movie, is a bank robber now. Um,
Okay, man.
but it was like really cool. And like we can get um if we could get like Pee-wee to just stay on and do the voice, we could find a chick hotter than Sarah Jessica Parker to play like the sci-fi hot chick.
Yeah, man.
Because you
Uh,
know how like all the '80s sci-fi films had like the hot chick.
Megan Fox.
I hate you.
Would let sit.
No.
Oh man. What, you don't want some of that some of those hot dripping leftovers from Machine Gun Kelly?
Yeah, I'm not eating Machine Gun Kelly's baby stew. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Bruh.
Hard pass on that shit. But no, like look up The Flight of the Navigator. It was a pretty cool movie. Or like
Mm.
or like you know what other kind of know what other set of movies I think might actually like benefit from like a remake spree. Um
The thing is that I like the thing is that I always stay really cautionary about remakes is like when we're talking about the idea of having remakes, I like the idea of that it's the ideal remake where it's literally the exact same story with little to no changes, or the changes are like to the story make it better somehow. I'm so
yeah.
tired of remakes that are like the Ghostbusters remakes where they're just shitting all over everything and they don't give a
Bruh.
It's like oh they're women now or whatever.
yeah. So as long if we're living in this amazing imaginary world where every remake is ideally perfect, where it's an exact copy, or somehow in this perfect universe it is in fact better than the original one somehow, then yeah, there are a few that I'd be willing to see remade. But the problem is that 9 times out of 10, most remakes are they're just shittier versions of the original movies to make a quick cash grab. So like if we're living in an ideal world, like, because like that's why I say like I don't like remakes. I want to just see the original films left as they are. It's because I know that 9 times out of 10, if they are remade, they're literally way shittier than the original version.
Yeah, no,
So
like I would like yeah, I would like the movies to stay, 85% of the original, but that's almost uh an unrealistic expectation. But you know what movie set that I think would make an awesome like just redo?
hmm.
The Jerry Hughes '80s film like universe. 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day
Oh,
Off, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like those four movies, just
see,
redo them. Like especially Weird Science and Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
so here's the thing is that knowing, because I've seen Weird Science and I've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, with that knowledge at hand, I would be down to see a Weird Science remake, but I feel like Ferris Bueller is just fine as it is by itself and it doesn't need to be redone.
Yeah, I don't think there's any opportunity to really improve it, but Weird Science definitely.
Yeah, that
Like
is that is something that I could definitely see being redone and being successful if they stayed accurate to the original material.
yeah,
Like
they stayed
definitely.
but they did but you know, they can use modern effects.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That would be cool.
And yeah, no, I'd be down.
Yeah. Like I said, I would love to see The Thing remade with current CGI.
I
Like if it
mean,
was like,
and Kelly LeBrock is still pretty hot.
yeah.
They could just recast her if they really wanted to.
um, yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's just very difficult because like whenever I hear somebody talk about remakes, I just automatically think it's just garbage because that's what our movie industry is. But
Well, I mean, yeah, but the thing is like not all remakes have been garbage.
are you trying to think of one?
I'm trying to remember the name of the one that I was like, oh no, this is actually not half bad.
Well, for example,
There-
The Thing from the 80s is a remake and it's great. It's actually better than the original of The Thing.
Uh,
So,
Adam Sandler's cut version of The Longest Yard.
oh yeah, I forgot that that was a remake.
Yeah, they had the original actor in the movie and everything was great.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
movie's
no,
all right. It's okay.
yeah, the Sandler's version of The Longest Yard. That was really good. Um, there's a lot of like 70s comedies, like any Mel Brooks film. Like
I was
no one would touch the shit out of them. But imagine like putting Blazing Saddles in with David Chappelle.
it would never work.
It would no one would touch it with a 10-foot pole. But dear God, if we could find somebody who could be just as good as Gene Wilder in that movie, Gene Wilder, and but the thing is, it would feel a lot like
That movie is literally a product of its time. It will
it,
there's literally nothing
uh,
that could ever be that movie ever again in
I
any other
know,
universe or timeline.
but like I would like Robin Hood Men in Tights, that guy that name escapes me.
That movie could maybe be redone.
Okay,
Maybe.
no, it doesn't need to,
Yeah. But I mean,
because
it has a better chance than Blazing Goddamn Saddles. Like,
okay, but hold on a second. The reason why I brought that movie up was for the actor's name, because he was in like all of those like early '90s satire films, and you know, The Princess Bride.
are you talking about the guy who played Wesley?
Yeah, Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, he's a great actor and he's goddamn sexy looking too.
Okay, now hear me out here. Like, sure, he's like almost 60 now, but
Sure.
Carrie and Dave Chappelle remaking Blazing Saddles. I mean, Robin Hood Men in Tights was almost that movie anyway.
I mean, maybe. It's just I can't like we're once again doing that whole thing where we have to pretend we're in La La Land because there's no way it would ever happen, you
Yeah,
know?
there's no way somebody's going to is
Like
going to let that movie like there
if
is no
we
way no one is ever going to let that movie come out.
yeah. If we were living in La La Land and we had a time machine where that actor could go forward in time to our current time to do that movie Blazing Saddles with with Dave Chappelle and also um we weren't living in our current society and like it's like yeah, in this imaginary world I'm sure it could be possible with all these imaginary things that it's like I mean I can respect Blazing Saddles for what it is. I feel like I'm okay with that. I I mean there's so many movies. There's so many movies you could do that with. You know what I mean? Where you can go into La La Land. Like I'm sure that in imaginary La La Land, the Ghostbusters remake was a masterpiece. All of them, all of the Ghostbusters remakes were masterpieces
Well, I
in that
mean, there's
imaginary world.
no, because in imaginary La La Land we still get we still get a leading queef joke.
Your imagination sucks then. I don't like your imaginary world.
Well, no. The imaginary no. See, in my imaginary world, we need the world to be permissible of things. However, it's basically the okay. So in my La La Land, uh, Egon is still a lot. Egon was still around, and they were able to do the Ghostbusters with the original cast, just kind of older.
Sure.
Like Ghostbusters 3, the original script for Ghostbusters 3, which was actually pretty good, was what it was actually made.
Hmm.
But Egon had to up and die.
Right. Well, it's just my only point is that in imaginary world, every movie remake and every movie series is perfect. So I mean, like arguing, that Blazing Saddles could be done in imaginary land. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, every piece of shit movie that you take into consideration could be done perfectly in imaginary land. So, and I mean, I guess also that, we're even talking about trying to do remakes that are somewhat respectable and actually well made and tell an actually good story. So I guess we're still in imaginary land when we're talking about that as well.
Yeah.
So, like I'm on the fence. I'm on the stance that, for example, we were originally talking about Back to the Future. Back to the Future trilogy is perfect as it is. But you know what? In imaginary land, the Back to the Future trilogy is an amazing, perfect remake that's even better than the original.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, but that's my point. That's my point, though. Like, yeah, I guess it's like, yeah, because we're talking about perfect remakes in imaginary land. Like, so I mean,
Another
I
movie. You know what movie we should get though?
what do you mean by get?
You know what movie Mel Brooks has not given us yet?
Um, it's the meaning of life part 2. Isn't that what it is?
You mean the History of the World Part 2?
The history of the world part 2. Yeah, isn't that what it is? That's the
Okay.
sequel we're all waiting for.
No, that's not really the sequel we're all waiting for.
Jewish astronauts in space.
Spaceballs 2.
No, no. You know what? Let's just go ahead and make 6 goddamn movies of that freaking movie. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, no! This would be the perfect time for Mel Brooks to
The
finally deliver.
the Lone Star trilogy of trilogies.
Yeah, this would be the perfect time for Mel Brooks to deliver Spaceballs 2. The sequel that he actually in the movie sequel baited.
But
Like,
that's what he did in History of the World Part 1.
No, he didn't do that. He didn't do that in the movie. He just titled the movie that way. He never like the inside History of the World Part 1. They never sequel baited. They sequel baited the out of Spaceballs.
If I remember correctly, when you get to the end credits of History of the World Part 1, they say, make sure you return for History of the World Part 2, Jewish astronauts in space. If I remember correctly, that's what it was called.
I mean, that doesn't count.
Yes, it does. That's like going and seeing a Marvel film and getting to the end of the credits where they spoil you the next film. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing.
I don't know. I don't know if they count that, but still, like,
because the whole point is
no one wants to see Jewish astronauts in space. We all want to see Darth Helmet again.
But the point, but that's the joke. That's like the joke. And honestly, it was probably also the point of the joke in the Spaceballs movie as well, which is like they're making you think that it's part of a series, but it's not actually part of a series. It's a one-off movie. Just like the joke in History of the World Part 1, it's a joke because they're trying to imply that it's going to be a series, but it's never going to be a series. That's the joke.
No, the joke was like the joke was the constant running gag in that movie about the crass commercialization and merchandising that George Lucas did
of the Schwartz.
Of the Schwartz. That was the sequel joke was another was a tie-in to the gag on George Lucas's gross commercialization and merchandising of his films.
Yeah. Well, that's like why there was that whole scene with I can't remember the character's name, but it was the Yoda character where he was like showing all of the
Yogurt,
merchant. Yeah, yogurt. Thank
yogurt.
you. Where he was showing all of the like. Have you seen my Schwartz merchandise? It's all about merchandising rights. Like, and he's showing like
Yeah,
the like like he's like showing like all the Schwartz rings and this over here, and it's all about
yeah.
selling. Yeah.
I mean,
Um.
no. What would be an absolute miracle, and it's kind of the reason why I want Spaceballs. Get Rick Moranis out of retirement,
Oh, okay.
because he's straight up retired, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, no, he left. His wife died, and he retired.
Okay. Sometimes it be like that, though.
Like, if Mel Brooks can somehow get Rick Moranis out of retirement and back into the Darth helmet, oh, I want to see. I want that movie so much. If I were to make a wish, my wish would be Spaceballs 2.
Okay. I mean, I was always on the side of like I always thought that film was fine as it was. That's one of those movies where I'm like, this is fine. It doesn't need to be continued. It's fine. But I mean, I understand like why you'd want to see
But
another.
there's so much more Star Wars lampooning that Mel Brooks can give us.
I mean, I
He's
guess. I mean,
he's got 2 more prequels to lampoon.
but you could argue that
Two more
for.
trilogies to lampoon.
I mean, but you could argue the same thing for Young Frankenstein. Like, dead serious. You can argue that for Young Frankenstein.
You can argue that for Young Frankenstein. The problem is like, who are you going to get to replace? Who are you going to get to replace Gene Wilder?
Yeah, you can't replace
Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder made that movie, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm one of those people that would say like, now don't get me wrong. Okay, don't get me wrong here. I love the Spaceballs movie. I love that movie. Now, with that being said, I think Young Frankenstein is better.
Oh, 100% Young Frankenstein's a better movie.
Yeah.
And it's a better movie because Gene Wilder
is amazing.
Was a national treasure.
Yeah. I love that actor. Love that man. Love that man.
Love, like, his Wonka is like amazing.
One of my favorite
Depp's Wonka is actually not bad. Nowhere's close.
Yeah.
But actually that Charlie the Chocolate Factory remake.
Yeah.
If you actually are familiar with the books,
it's more accurate.
It's actually more accurate.
Yep.
And Tim Burton did that movie justice.
Yeah, he did. That's the thing is because like even though it's not like here's the thing, the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka is better storytelling, but just because it's better storytelling doesn't mean it's a better movie.
No, like I agree with you there.
Yeah, that was my one point.
Yeah, better for storytelling, worse movie. Because let's face it, as a movie, it's kind of the whole premise and everything kind of fits as a musical.
Yeah,
and it not being like it not having heavy musical elements in Burton's version, kind of took away from it as a movie for me.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think also like what we were saying, Gene Wilder was like really spectacular too.
Oh, Gene Wilder, just there's not a damn thing that man couldn't do.
Yeah. Look at the size of these knockers. Oh, I thank you, Doctor. I love Young Frankenstein. It's such a good movie. Party on the Ritz! Oh, I peaked the mic with that one. I feel bad. I was doing so good at not peaking the mic for so long. Oh well. Well, I think we've said a lot of good things about movies, and we kind of did what I wanted to do, which is, we were talking about current stuff, but I did want to talk about old stuff too. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of glad we got to do that. But
Spaceballs 2, let's go.
Electric Boogaloo,
Yeah.
Jewish astronauts in space.
I mean, one can argue that Spaceballs 2 is the sequel to History of the World.
I that's not a bad point, actually. You might be right about that. I think it was literally called History of the World Part 2 Jews in Space. I think it was just not Jewish astronauts, just Jews in space.
I mean, yeah, but they're. I mean, Mel Brooks can remake The Producers for a second time.
Oh god. That's another film that I don't think can ever be properly recreated ever again.
I mean, they did. I mean, they did it once already. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it did get turned into a Broadway musical, so, take that
Yeah,
for what it is.
yeah.
Um that's also a good story, like a good movie as well, The Producers. And Gene Wilder's in that one too. He
Yeah,
plays.
yeah. No, Gene Wilder was in the original one, and
Yeah.
the remake was Matthew Broderick and who was that guy's name? He was.
I don't know. I don't think I saw the remake. I've only seen the original.
The remake's actually not half bad.
Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah. Gene Wilder was just a fantastic actor.
Yeah,
Like, everything I think I've ever seen him in is just spectacular because of him.
Trading Places. Dear God, that movie.
Oh my god, I forgot that he's in that movie.
Yeah,
Dude, yes. Oh, that's such a good movie. Holy crap, I haven't thought about that movie in like years. Wow, that just came flooding back to me. Wow. That's Eddie Murphy, right?
yeah,
Yeah. God damn. Wait, was it Gene Wilder that was in that movie?
yeah. I think Gene Wilder had a role. He didn't have a main role because it was Aykroyd
Oh,
Murphy.
right. Okay. Right. Because
No, actually, I don't think. I don't actually think. No, he wasn't in Trading Places. What was the movie that came around that time that did have him though? Let me check his filmography.
because I remember that I'm pretty sure that the second character in Trading Places was not Gene Wilder.
No,
I
it was
mean, he
Dan
might have been
Aykroyd.
a yeah, Dan Aykroyd. That's right. Um, God, I love that movie. Trading Places is such a good movie. I haven't seen it in so long. So that's like one of like, in my opinion, one of Eddie Murphy's best movies of all time. Like, I mean, he's done a bunch of good movies. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate on Eddie Murphy. I think Eddie Murphy's a great actor and a great comedian. But that has to be one of the single best movies I've ever seen him in ever. Like, hands down.
Oh, I was
Uh,
thinking See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
oh, I don't know
But that
that one.
was him and Pryor. That was another him and Pryor movie when they were just doing a bunch of movies together.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? I think we've said our piece on some bad movies and said our piece on some good movies. So I think we should probably rippity wrap this one up. What do you think?
I think it works.
Yeah. Is there any last minute thoughts that you want to have about movies that we've talked about?
No, I think we're set.
Okay. I think the one last minute thought is Dan Aykroyd is a goddamn treasure. Go and watch everything he's ever done. I mean, not Dan Aykroyd. I mean, Dan Aykroyd's great too. I meant to say
Oh, you
Gene
mean
Wilder.
Gene Wilder.
Yeah,
Gene
I meant to say
Wilder.
Gene Wilder.
I mean, if we're gonna like put some respect on Aykroyd's name, like I'm struggling. Like Ghostbusters 2 might actually be Dan Aykroyd's worst movie.
That's interesting. I definitely like him in the first one.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
but everybody agrees that Ghostbusters 2 was kind of a letdown.
Hmm. I don't remember it that well, to be honest. I remember the first one like page by page, but the second one, I do remember Slimer was like the big thing in the second movie. Like, I mean, not the big thing, but he was like a really popular character, and that's most of what I remember about that
Yes, I mean
movie.
they turned Slimer into a pet for the second one.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, Gene Wilder, absolutely amazing. Well, anyways, I'm going to say the last few things that I was saying, which is if you haven't already, if you're brand new here, if you're brand spanking new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed this. Go ahead and think about subscribing. Well, this is what we do here. We do podcasts. We have a good time. We talk about whatever the hell's on our mind at any particular given time. And if you think you enjoy that, hit that subscribe button. Maybe ring a ding the notification bell so that way you can always know when the Imaginary Boys are going to be releasing a brand new, sexy, sexy tongue in the ear just for you. That's how you're going to want to know, is by hitting that bell. And go ahead and leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think. Do you have any interesting opinions about recent movies? What's your take on remakes? Any really good old movies that you want to tell us about? Let us know in the comments down below. We always want to know what you're thinking, what you're saying, all those wonderful things. And check in the description as well for PayPal and Streamlabs. All donations are super amazing and greatly appreciated. Wonderful shout out to the amazing Patreon members, which include Bo Falcon, Fajouk Enterprises, the lovely Miss Rebecca, as well as Scorpigeist. You guys are well loved and well respected, and thank you guys for supporting the Imaginary Boys on a regular basis. We really genuinely appreciate that. And check out the Teespring for all the wonderful merch. I'm constantly working on new designs for wonderful merch pieces. The Imaginary Boys will be getting a new design soon. Can't guarantee when it's going to happen, but it is something that I'm currently working on. So check out the Teespring in the link in the description below. And I think other than that, that's pretty much the majority of it. So I will be saying we have been the Imaginary Boys. Good night, everyone.